Yeah, keep it coming, you guys. Yeah. It's been a long time since I've been doing this performance in person, so I'm just sucking in all the attention I can get. You know, it's a lot better than my computer screen. How you guys doing? You doing good? Yeah. Thanks so much, and welcome for joining us in the first ever AAPI Heritage Month brought to you by Affirmative Reaction. We're here to celebrate Asian American stand-up comedy and artistic performers from all across the Boston area. This is a month where we as Asian Americans can come together and celebrate our shared community and our art and highlight some of these amazing people we have working. So, you know, give it up for yourselves for being here, you know? Oh, it's good. Yeah, there's a lot of you out here in the... Yeah, it's great. There's a lot of people. I see there's a couple white allies here in the audience today. You always gotta love a white ally. Cheer if you're a white ally. Yeah, if there's anything white people need, it's more attention. You know, it's great. But I understand the plight of the white. You know, I am actually half white myself. I'm biracial, the sporks of people, as I like to call us. It's true. On my dad's side, I'm actually a quarter Chinese and a quarter Japanese, and on my mom's side, I'm a quarter Polish and a quarter German, which, if you guys recognize from world history, essentially means that my ancestors brutally attacked my ancestors and then teamed up with my ancestors to defeat the rest of my ancestors. It's a fun little daisy chain of genocides, as I like to kind of colloquially refer to it as, you know? But it's so great to be in this room with all these Asian talents and artists and audience members. You know, I grew up in a suburb just north of Boston here, Melrose, Massachusetts, which has more pizza parlors than it has minorities. You know, if there was a graph of the minorities in Melrose at any given time, it would jump up and down like a heart rate monitor, depending on whether or not I was there in that particular moment. You know, you know, I'm trying to put myself out there more, be more of a white people person, you know? I'm trying to understand the white culture, you know? I'm fascinated by the white culture, you know? There's so many just like odd, interesting bits and bobs, you know? I could do my entire doctoral thesis on white studies exclusively in a vineyard vines, you know? It's great, you know? I feel like when you're white, at some point, someone will just give you a boat. I don't know when, I don't know why, but at some point you will just be handed a boat. I do not know what it is about white people and boats. It's like once you conquer all of land, you have to conquer the next area, you know? Like, the only time they let us Asians onto these boats is so that they can call us fresh off them. You know, but it's fun, you know? We're all getting out here. We're trying to promote the arts, you know? We're up against Boston, which isn't, let's be honest, the best city to grow up in as an Asian person, you know, especially with all the Mark Wahlberg attacks going around. Yeah. Yeah. If there's anything I love talking about, it's Mark Wahlberg's 1988 hate crime arrests, you know? Just not enough people talk about it. It's great. You know, I'm trying to grow my facial hair out more. You know, I'm trying to look more adult, but it's kind of hard because, like, I'm 22, but I look about 50. It's that weird Asian, like, nebulous boat where you end up Benjamin Buttoning. Yeah, and, like, in my head, I imagine myself looking like a fancy, like, samurai warrior, you know? But in reality, I just kind of look like an Asian knockoff of Harry and the Hendersons. But, like, it's so weird because there just aren't Asian American beard icons to look up to growing up. You know? Like, when you're white, you have, like, everyone named Chris. You know? Everyone named Chris can grow a beard, but, like, when you're Asian, all we have is, like, Judge Lance Ito? No one knows Judge Lance Ito. Okay. Judge Lance Ito was the judge during the O.J. Simpson trial, just to put it in historical perspective. So I don't think he's particularly a hero to anyone, unless you're O.J. Simpson. You guys ready to get this show started? Yeah! Your first comic I got here is the dictionary definition of persistence. During the COVID pandemic, when all of us were locked inside, watching TV and not performing, this guy was out there in the park doing outdoor stand-up comedy mics. He is an insane hustler. He runs the only Mandarin-speaking mic here in Boston at Timoji in Alston. Give it up for Mr. Karl Xie, everybody.
Hola. Hi, I'm Karl. I'm from Wuhan. No, I'm just fucking with you. I'm just, it's okay, white dude with N95 mask. It's okay. You got your protection. The pandemic's over, all right? Make some noise if you already beaten COVID. Fuck yeah. The camera guy, see? Everybody stay away from the camera guy. No, it's over. Everybody I know have gotten COVID, and they're all gay now. No, I used to wear my mask on stage, and now I'm taking a different strategy. I'm overdosing on vaccines. I've had 12 shots. I have 4 vaccination cards under different names. And now I'm on the spectrum, and I don't like eye contact. I'm 28, and I just turned 28. And all my friends have kids now, because they have no dreams. One of my friends has 3 kids, I think he has negative dreams. Like, my mom wanted me to have kids, because there's not enough Chinese people out there. And she's like, you gotta have babies. And by the way, this microphone is not working. If you're wondering, just in case, it's only going to the control room. All right, that's out of the way. I can do my set. Oh man, I've been trying to eat healthy, but I love junk food, man. Y'all know the article that says eating a hot dog could take 36 minutes of your life? Yeah, my first reaction was like, let me have 2 months of hot dogs right now. Just let me make a down payment right now. Because I can't be at a baseball game and go, I can't have I'm just going to take 30. I'm not a pussy. Yeah. I got to eat a hot dog when I want a hot dog, And I did the math. It's 1 day equals to 40 hot dogs. That's not a bad deal. We could all afford some hot dogs, Also, you don't lose a whole day, You spend 8 hours a night sleeping. So you're only losing 2/3 of the day. That's an extra 30% off. You can trust me on the math. I'm not a math genius, but compared to you, sir, I am. Normally that joke works better in the all-white room. I didn't know there's going to be this many Asian here tonight. What's up, man? How you doing? Good. How did you know about this show? I see it on Facebook. Oh, you saw it on Facebook? Are you a friend with Nate?
No, really. I'm friends with Facebook.
Okay. All right, you sound like Mark Zuckerberg. Oh, man. Where was I? Yeah. I don't know if I can tell from looking at me, but I don't work out. It's too painful, Like I saw in this article that says 1 in 10 women have reported having orgasm during workout. And I was so jealous. I want that. Shit, if I have that ability, I'd be at the gym all day just flexing, with jizz everywhere, just fucking, just doing it, man. That article did improve my sex life with my girlfriend. Now we have a dumbbell in the bedroom. Go help yourself, honey. Yeah. I tried running, Man, it's hard. Like people experience runner's high. You heard of that? I never had it. never, like what I experience is called the appendix hurting. That happens every time. And when I run outside, people like run so fast. Like they're like professional runners out there. People who have jobs and they run marathon because they have no friends. Every one of them runs faster than me, especially white girls with blonde ponytails. Like even her ponytails have more energy than me. Pisses me off. When I run, I look like a spaghetti trying to escape from the pot. Just just dying out there. Oh man. Are you Steph's boyfriend or? Cool. How long you guys been together? 9 months. Oh, nice. Congratulations. 9 months. You're still coming out to her shows. I've been with my girl for 7 years. She doesn't come out anymore. We don't do anything together anymore. We just lay in bed and order Uber Eats. That's all we do. All right, guys, give it up for the white guy, okay? It's the only white person, Make him feel comfortable, okay? And it's no, man. I like white people. Yeah, I do. My favorite type of white is the rich white who adopts Asian babies. Because I'm from a small town in China, and I've met 2 people who have adopted kids from my hometown. And one of them, has a serious blood issue, and he needs like a blood transfusion every month, like a reverse Dracula. And they still adopted him. That's some rich white shit. They can afford a sick baby. I can't even afford organic blueberries. It's a different ball game, man. It's different. Oh man, I was I've lived in this country for about 9 years, and I noticed something that black parents are very similar to Chinese parents. Yeah, by that I mean they beat their kids. Yeah. Yeah, one black dude is getting that. No, man, I once heard a white lady say, "Oh, I wish I could hire someone to beat up my boys." I was like, do it yourself. Don't you have the term BYOB? Beat your own boy. Like my mom would beat me with a stick I practice martial art with, and she doesn't hold back. Every time she's like, "What did I told you?" Was that too harsh for you, my man? Is that okay? Okay. Because every time I tell that joke, black people laughing, white people like, "That's illegal." She's going to jail. No, I wouldn't put you to jail for that in China. The police show up, beat your ass for your mom. "Ma'am, are you tired? Let me help you." All right, that's the time. Thank you, guys.
I'm joined now by Sneha Shrestha, aka Imagine, who's this amazing street artist around the Boston area. You can see her murals right down the street from our very own studio in Central Square. She's has work all over Boston, including in the MFA and the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum. She's done collaborations with Reebok and Facebook and Red Bull, all kinds of really exciting things. First off, I just want to ask, what does being Asian and Asian American mean to you?
Good question. I think for me, it is about keeping my traditions and culture close to my heart and presenting the most authentic version of myself in my artwork. So it's impossible to represent everybody at the same time through one person, what Asian means. And I also want to express that like it is connected to our identities and our personal experiences in so many ways, like even down to something as, simple as like what people think Asian looks like or Asians should look like. And I've personally struggled with it because I don't check the boxes of what America's definition of Asian looks like. And so I'm given these other ethnicities, identities because of like my big curly hair, which like I'm not wearing now, but like big curly hair or like skin tone, like all these things. And, you know, people feel like they're giving me a compliment, but in reality, you're erasing my identity. You're negating my identity. And I think we owe it to ourselves to express our most authentic self so that, you know, at least we're strong for ourselves and we're representing ourselves. I started, I want to say, I mean, I was painting since forever, since I was 5, and I was painting in college too, but I really felt like I came into my voice and was attached to this or found this identity through my art when I was introduced to graffiti, where I met Rob was at the time, and now he's my family and my mentor for life. And he was painting almost every other weekend. And on Monday, you know, he'd paint on the weekend, and on Monday he'd be showing us photos. And I was so intrigued, and I was doing photography at the time. So I asked him if I could tag along, take photos. And over time, I found myself doing sketches of different letters. And what I love about that, it's an art form that was based out of rebellion, out of this need of being seen. Rob gave me like 2 huge tote bags full of graffiti zines and magazines. And that's how I sort of familiarized myself with like what graffiti was. And I love the fact that it's an art form based on letters. The more unique you are, the more stylistic you are in showing your personality. And I love that, like the uniqueness is what makes you good, not necessarily copying another artist. So I started, you know, writing like letters, like drawing letters in English. But then over time, I was thinking, you know, I liked it and I had a good control of spray can at that time. But I started thinking to myself, you know, where is my voice in this other than my obsession? Where am I in this? Am I just trying? But I was trying to figure out where am I in this? And then Rob and I talked about writing in Nepali. And when I started writing Nepali, it came so naturally to me to stylize English. And so it comes more naturally to me. And that's how it started. So the nature of public art is, you know, it's public. It's there for everybody to see. And for me, like the scale of the work that I get to create is what really makes me feel seen, because, you know, I'm not a super loud sort of person. I'm pretty shy. I'm not very loud, or, you know, I never felt like I had like that presence of like that demanded attention. But I still wanted to be seen, and I felt like, and I still feel, and I know that my art can be loud for me. So for me, without compromising my personality and who I am, I can still present my authentic self through my art. And it's also a way of sort of, in time, it's become a way of reclaiming space in a way where I've felt like I belong here too, you know, and here's my artwork. And this is so alien looking to most people, but I still deserve to be seen. In the same way that, you know, if you see a person who looks different and speaks a different language, even if you don't understand each other, you can still appreciate each other's humanity and respect each other for it. And that's what I aim to do with my artwork, is that, no, I know you can't read the Nepali script that's on it, but you can still appreciate the aesthetics of a culture and ask questions about what it says. And that's the sort of, you know, objective of my work, and I've been able to do that. So I'm really thankful for the kind of artwork that I got to stumble into and create public artwork like that. The script that I write in, the lettering is called Devanagari script. And so Devanagari is a writing form that is written, like you can write Sanskrit in it, and Nepali is also written in it. So sometimes I write in Sanskrit and then sometimes I write in Nepali. The aesthetics of it come from various like 14th century manuscripts that I've researched and looked at, manuscripts from Nepal that I've looked at. Other influences also come from temple inscriptions that tell the story of that time or of that king or Raja at that time. And I love the fact that, I'm telling my own story and maybe the story of my people to a certain extent through what I'm writing. Or it's something that I can offer the community that I'm writing that for. And I see it as a similar sort of art form of narrating something that's in our life, that's authentic, that's real, that's happening. And then in terms of, a lot of people ask me like what I write on the walls, it really depends on the space. Like every piece is site specific. So like, for example, the one that you mentioned, the one in Central Square, that one is a quote from a Nepali poem that speaks about success and this idea of meritocracy. And so the quote goes, success, or roughly translated, it goes, success is not where you come from, but where your heart is. And so it speaks to the idea of meritocracy. And then, I'm thinking about this building being at the confluence of like this immigrant community that's the Cambridge port, the mom and pop stores, so many of them that used to be on that Cambridge Square strip. And then there are like the high-tech like companies in Kendall Square. And then there's kids at MIT who are from all over the world. And so what does the definition of success look like? And I was myself at a point in my life where I was thinking, have I made it? Is this success? And at that time, I don't think a lot of people back home had caught up or understood what I was doing. And so while here in the US, it felt like people appreciated me for what I was doing, I wasn't quite sure if the same translated back home. And having approval from one side of my life wasn't enough. Where I came from, the approval from there mattered too, because I belong to that community. No matter how much I say it doesn't matter, it matters. And so I was thinking, well, is this success? And I was wondering how maybe at the end of the day, we define success for ourselves. And, an immigrant community will define their own success. Nobody else gets to tell them what success looks like.
Keep it going for Karl, everybody. Yeah, Karl making me feel really bad about the amount of hot dogs I eat. Sorry, I'm just fixing the stand. Are you getting this? Is the camera getting this? I'm available for hire. I'll cut that out later. Anyways, you guys ready for your next comic? Yeah. Now, just a little bit about Affirmative Reaction. We started putting on stand-up comedy shows about 4 years ago over in the now-defunct Improv Boston, also in Central Square. And the show was actually formed not by me, but by two Tufts University students who have now gone on to way bigger and better things. And I thought, for my show, what better way to pay back than to give a spot to the next generation of Tufts comedians who will maybe one day take over this show from me. So anyways, this next performer has performed all over. She's been on the Mooyah Comedy down in Boston. She's been at the studio. She's great. Give it up for the very funny Erika Chen.
The way Nate was talking earlier, it sounds like he wants me to take over his job so he can leave. Yeah. Yeah. One thing I don't really understand is the concept of political parties. You got Democratic Party, Republican Party, Libertarian Party. Where's the party? Apparently half the country goes to one and the other half the country goes the other, but like, where are my broski? Where are the kegs? If we're talking about an American party, I want mud. I want ketamine. I want butt chugging. At minimum. Yeah. Yeah, you know you have a lame party when a Ford Fiesta has more America and party than you. And it has the word fiesta in it. Yeah, like imagine like you're trying to get your friend to go to this political party and you're just like, oh, I mean like who's gonna be there? Bro, the lineup is sick! We got Mitch, Chuck, Nancy, and Diane Feinstein! It's the registry for a funeral home. That is not... It's not a party. Yeah. I think kids are really overrated, especially like having them. I get annoyed when people who give birth are like, oh my God, she's beautiful, but it's not. Like, have you seen them when they come out? Ugly. Thank God for plastic surgery, you know? Yeah, I think we lie to ourselves and tell ourselves like, oh, it's worth it. Because, I mean, like the unsatisfying sex, the 9 months of pregnancy, you know, the labor, you know, just shooting out a human-shaped watermelon, tearing your booty hole apart. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like it's really similar to like when you bake a cake for the first time and you say, oh my God, it's better because it's homemade, which means it was made with love. Like, no, there was no love. It was an accident. A mishap, perhaps. And it didn't taste that good when it came out of the vagina, you know? Yeah. Yeah, so I am Chinese. My mom is Chinese, which means she is very mean. She takes joy out of hurting my feelings. Yeah. She let it be known while I was growing up that I was fat and ugly. You know, something I had to continuously work on myself for, you know? Yeah, but, you know, I think I learned a lot from Melania's Be Best campaign. I learned that bullying works. So I started hitting the gym, you know? I call it, you know, the Church of Iron, you know? The House of Swole. You know, try to look at like my OG skinny legend, Jesus Christ. But yeah, my mom is like also like a little bit sadistic. I like tried to like work on myself. My cholesterol was still bad. So I texted her saying, hey, I sleep well, eat well, I exercise, cholesterol bad. She responds at 3:30 a.m. the next morning with a single text message that read, "You are old." This woman woke up, left a YouTube hate comment, and went back to sleep. Like, if you are sending someone an insult at 3:30 a.m., it guarantees that either it's the last thing I see before I go to bed, or it's the first thing I see when I wake up tomorrow morning. That is called cyberbullying. She's 5'2", but full of evil. Wicked Witch of the East. Yeah. I feel like as a human species, we're either devolving or evolution is not real. Case study, when I was 6 years old, I was scared of old people's knees. You know, as a human species, you know, we have fear and threat perception in order to survive, but like, what was I afraid of? Early onset of arthritis, it doesn't even run in my family. Yeah, I also was scared of the Hamburglar and Grimace from McDonald's. You know, what was I scared of there? Huh? Childhood obesity? You know, I'm just saying this evolution theory doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. But yeah, growing up, I was really into like Disney princesses. I think one of my favorites was Pocahontas. You know, she talked to animals and sang songs. She saved her tribe, made a white man woke. Which didn't happen in real life, but we don't talk about that. You know, genocide, what? I can't hear you, but I can hear the wolf crying to the blue corn moon. Yeah. But I think my favorite Disney princess of all time was Princess Aurora from Sleeping Beauty. Because she was everything I wanted to be in a woman, you know? She was skinny and pretty and Caucasian. Yeah. Everything I wanted to be. I'm already halfway there with the blonde hair. Yeah. But honestly, I kind of still look up to her because, like, this wench went to sleep, woke up with a man. I sleep all the time. Where are the men? On top of that, her man slayed a dragon for her. What are you guys doing? Yeah. Where are the standards? Chivalry's dead. Yeah. I got rejected the other day. I was texting a guy and I was trying to be cute and funny. So instead of writing okay or all right, I wrote groovy booby. And I don't think he got the vibe because he responded saying, not gonna lie, that turned me off, have a good day. Which, I mean, it's embarrassing. For him! I mean, if this boy cannot handle reading on a phone screen groovy booby, what the hell is he gonna do when he sees two of mine in person? You know? Yeah, so I started to think of more phrases to, ward off unworthy men. So, got groovy booby. You got bonkers knockers. The chest butt. Yeah. And I think my favorite is the Danny DeVitos. Because my breasts, like Danny DeVito, are lumpy masses that are oddly charming. And people laugh when they hear them tell funny jokes. That's right. I see you guys. You guys are all ridden with jealousy because your boobs can't make jokes and people don't laugh at them. But yeah, my name is Erika Chen. That's all the time I have. Thank you so much.
AAPI culture in Boston and beyond is so important. It's important for us to remember, because if we don't remember, then we can't change our future. So it's important from the arts, from filmmaking, from dance, from food and culture, and all those important touchstones. We need to preserve, and we need to innovate, and we need to be creative. So very important for us to remember and look forward.
I'm talking about the need to preserve our culture, but I think that to preserve Asian culture also make American culture richer. All of us feel better. We have Little Italy, why not Little Saigon, Little Chinatown? So I'm very excited that we would be able to preserve and expand our cultural center and make the fabric of America much more beautiful.
I think it's just important to celebrate and highlight the Asian arts in the community because there's a lot of rich culture that's involved, and we just like to share the culture. It includes all the differences and the diversity and the beauty in especially the Vietnamese arts programming.
I mean, this is an opportunity that we all the AAPI community, can come together and recognize, and not only that, look at what we have done that has been positive to our community and to the whole community, and also realize the challenges. So in a way, it's also a time to reflect on what are the challenges as a community, and separately as a different various Asian community, because we want to, there's a diverse group of AAPI community.
For me, when I think about Asian American identity and culture, I think being Asian American in this country is to be, as Kathy Park Hong says, both hyper visible and invisible at the same time. We're hyper visible in that we've been targeted in terms of racism and attacks throughout the history of this country, but also lately with troubling surges in anti-Asian racism and violence. But it's also being invisible in that the needs of our community are often not seen and heard. And so when I think about arts and culture, I think they are so important to cultivating and promoting a sense of belonging, to make people realize that they're not alone, to make them feel seen and heard and treasured. And that is just so important. And I think particularly making sure we invest in storytelling and preserving and telling our histories, our stories, is so important to the work that needs to happen. And it makes me proud, certainly, to be Asian American.
One more time for Erika Chen, everybody. Wasn't that set just groovy gooby? Gonna make it a thing. I'm gonna frindle it. Anyway, another round of applause for Erika's mom, too. It's not an Asian show unless someone talks about their tiger parent. Because I have a white mom, everyone assumes I have a tiger parent, but I don't, Instead of her making me rice, she made me quinoa, Your next comic is absolutely great. She just moved to Boston pretty recently and is already killing it. She's going to be at Canary Street in JP next week. So give it up for the very funny Cynthia X. Wang.
Hello, Cambridge. How we doing? Good to see everybody here. I'll start with a confession. The reason why I'm always wearing a hat is because I have a really pointy head. You think it's not true, but if I were to take off my hat and someone were to pick me up and throw me at a wall, I would stick. By night, I'm a comedian. By day, I work at the sports bar across the street as the Dart. We are in the midst of Asian Month. I am contractually obligated to mention this, or else at the next meeting, they're going to take my card away. I find it interesting how they distributed the months among the groups, because some groups got a month with the least number of days that a month could have, and then Asians ended up with a month that has the most number of days that a month could have. I don't know who decided that or who negotiated on our behalf, but if I had to guess, it was probably my mom. More confessions about me. I am really, really bad at driving. And I know what you're thinking, okay? It's not for the reason that you're thinking. It's because I had really bad driving teachers. And the people who taught me how to drive were my parents. But I don't think it's entirely their fault, because they didn't learn how to drive until after they came to America, and there are some things that I think the 26-year-old mind can't process as well as the 16-year-old mind, like what a stop sign looks like. Growing up, I thought there were a lot of bad driving behaviors that were normal, that everybody just did. I thought everybody just got a ticket every other week. It happened so often at my house, I thought tickets were just separate taxes you pay directly to the police. Like, I would see my dad hunched over the kitchen table filling out those tickets, grumbling. Oh, Cynthia, the police only do this when they want money. They only do this when they need to fill their quota. When they need money, they go to the stop sign that they know I run every day. We also totaled a ton of cars. Pretty much every 2 years, my parents would go through a car and we'd have to get another one. But that's why my dad was always telling me, you don't want to buy cars brand new. You always want to buy used, because they're going to lose value as soon as you drive them off the lot and into the guardrails across from the auto dealership. Did you know you can actually be so bad at driving that your insurance company doesn't want you anymore? Geico let us go because we were too much of a liability. You know what insurance company is lower than Geico? A little company called Vinny's Vehicles, ran by an old Italian guy who lives in the North End. But then I gave them a call and found out it was just a robot voice imitating an old Italian guy who lives in the North End. Folks are traveling again because COVID's over. My friends invited me on a trip to Peru to try ayahuasca. You don't have to ask, these were my white friends. Most people want to try ayahuasca so that they can see their dead relatives and commune with the deities. That's not why I would do it, though. I just think projectile vomiting and violently diarrheaing in front of a 79-year-old shaman would be such a great way for me to lose 5 pounds for summer. I'm getting older, that's no fun. My parents are giving me a hard time about not being married yet. I give them a hard time about not being vaccinated. It's a fun little dance we do. Some of you might be surprised that a person with a face like this could have parents that are so far to the right that they have NRA memberships. But it's true. It can happen. It can happen in your neighborhood. Asian Christians. It can happen. Let me explain. My parents came from China to America in 1989, and they found Jesus. I blame the free food in churches for this. It'll lure them right in. But yeah, 1989 was kind of the last year they took in pop culture, or secular culture, if you will. So they're kind of like time capsules for 1989. Like, if you ask my dad who Batman is, he would say Michael Keaton. And if you ask my dad what his favorite song is, he'll say it's "You Cannot Touch This." By Master of Ceremonies, Hammer. Immigrant parents are fun, though, because it's like they can speak English because they work in this country. They know words from a textbook, but they don't know slang and a lot of cultural touchstones. I was sitting next to my mom watching Netflix, and she turns to me and goes, "Cynthia, what is poontang?" And that's just never a conversation you want to have. I have to be careful, though, when I'm packing to visit my parents at home. I don't want to put the wrong thing in my luggage for them to discover, you know. Make sure I don't bring along the weed or the strap-on dildo or the flyers for the Stonewall Sports League. I think, though, because my mom's so out of the loop, if she found a piece of paper among my things with the acronym LGBT on it, I would just tell her that it's a flyer from my Bible study group. And it stands for Loving God Big Time. Thank you guys so much. You've been a really lovely crowd.
Hello everyone, welcome to, we don't even have a title for the show, but this is a video podcast special for AAPI Heritage Month for May, and I am here with Kesha, our intern at CCTV.
Hi guys.
Keep it going for Cynthia, everybody. Yeah. Anyway, you guys ready for your next comic? Yeah. You know, this next comic is great. She's been performing all over Boston. She runs a mic at Rough Trade in Somerville. Give it up for the very funny Steph Dalwin.
Oh, thank you guys so much for coming out. So I am biracial. I'm Vietnamese and Jewish. I don't look Vietnamese or Jewish. I just look like a before photo of a Kardashian. I feel like people are always like, oh my God, like Vietnamese and Jewish, that's so unique. And I'm like, it's not. It just means I'm part anxiety, part irritable bowel syndrome. Lactose intolerant on both sides. My mom is from Vietnam, and so, you know, growing up, we did a lot of our shopping at Vietnamese grocery stores, and I know this room has been to Asian grocery stores. You know how great they are, okay? But if you've never been, like, cancel your Costco membership, okay? You don't need that. You just need the Vietnamese grocery store. Everything you need is there. Shrimp chips, knockoff Gucci wallets. All in a space the size of a janitor's closet. Yesterday, I got lost. I was walking through like 3 aisles of fish sauce, trying to find a rice cooker. I ended up getting my taxes done. Like, where else are you gonna find that? Okay, not Whole Foods. Like, is Whole Foods even a grocery store anymore? No, it's just a spiritual retreat. Yeah, you like walking, you know, they make you a kale smoothie, lead you in an ayahuasca ritual. And then there's some white chick with tribal tattoos named Friendship. She just cleanses your aura with sage. And you're never going to find that at a Vietnamese market, like, thank God. You'll just find reasonably priced mangoes. I think the only place for me that can compare to a Vietnamese grocery store is a Jewish deli. Like, hear me out, okay? They're wonderful. Like, everything is either pickled or salted. Like, the fish, the beef tongue, the cookies. And you have to move with a sense of urgency that could, like, solve world wars, you know? Like, because if you don't, some old lady is going to fight you over the last good rye bagel. And people are always asking, like, oh my God, like, Jews and Asians, like, you guys have so much in common. What is it? And I'm like, it's this. Our mutual love for salty food and stressful shopping experiences. Yeah. Growing up in a mixed race household, it was interesting, right? Like, it led to some interesting culture clashes. Like, my mom used to make me sleep with a knife under my pillow to scare away murderous Vietnamese ghosts. And all of my friends, apparently. Yeah. Sleepovers were fun, you know? I'd walk in, my friends would be like, I brought my friendship bracelets and my unicorn plushie. And I'd be like, I have my ghost knife, guys. When's the party start? And kids thought my ghost knife was like weird, but like, I don't know. Okay, fine. I slept with a knife under my pillow. Other kids sleep with their dead teeth under their pillow, waiting for the tooth fairy. Like, at least my thing is practical. I'm scaring off murder ghosts. And these ghosts, like, okay, they're not just any ghosts. They were like former criminals and murderers in their past life. And now that they're dead, they're like, it's open season, bitches. They kill everything. You, your family, your sourdough starter. And I feel like, you know, like, people thought my knife was weird. But all these kids that made fun of me, like, I'm calling it, okay? In 10 years, they're going to get, like, really into ghost knives. Like, ghost knives are going to be the next ayahuasca. They're going to be the next yuppie wellness trend, you know? Gwyneth Paltrow is going to be all over them. She'll put them on the Goop lifestyle blog next to breast milk lattes and a quartz crystal that doubles as a tampon. My mom still calls sometimes to like make sure I'm sleeping with my ghost knife, you know. She called me the other day. She was like, Stephanie, break out the ghost knife again. I was like, why? She was like, I had a vision. She had this vision that there was this ghost man who was trying to abduct me and make me his ghost wife. I know. It's crazy. Someone wants to marry me. Why am I scaring him? Okay, screw the knife. I need to catch him. Yes. Tonight, under my pillow, I am sleeping with Hennessy, Sports Illustrated, and half a sandwich, okay? I'm gonna trap myself a husband, even if it's a ghost. My parents have been putting a lot of pressure on me lately to like have kids, and like that's not my energy. I'm not like a mother. I'm supposed to be like a kooky aunt, you know? I'm supposed to like knit sweaters for trees. Dress like a women's studies professor. Also, like, creating life is dangerous. Did we learn nothing from Jurassic Park? I recently came out. I am. Oh my God. Okay, like that's a much better reaction than my family had. Thank you. Does anyone want to adopt me? I'm 31. I'm highly neurotic. I can be like your rescue bisexual. No, I recently came out. I'm bisexual. My parents think this means that I'm part-time gay. I feel like they have all these misconceptions about bisexual people, right? Like, we're interested in men and women. And so because of that, people think that we're, like, indecisive and that we can't make up our mind. Like, let me be clear. I am not undecided. I'm double majoring. I feel like I've tried and failed to come out a bunch, you know. I keep like coming out of the closet, going back in the closet, and then coming out. I just love to make an entrance. And no, I feel like I'm like a sexually fluid groundhog, you know. I like pop my head out and I'm like, oh man, no, it's still winter. Too many conservative snowflakes. Just gonna go back underground with my Abby Wambach poster. I tried to come out to my mom. Here's the thing, like, she's not from this country, right? Like, English is not her first language. So my mom didn't think I was bisexual. She thought I was bisectional. Like a sofa. And like, she's not wrong, you know? I could sexually identify as a couch. Like, I'm usually covered in potato chips. I'm often at IKEA. You need about 2 hours and a special tool to screw me. Anyway, that's all from me. I'm Steph Dalwin.
Hi, thank you. Today we have Mayor Sambu Siddiqui with us, and we are Angry Boba Time Podcast. And thank you so much for joining us today. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so we have this show because this is Asian American Heritage Month, and then we just kind of want to like talk to you about being a minority woman leader. What has your experiences be? Is what is like unique to your challenges being an Asian American in such a leadership role?
Sure. I think, I think about how I'm in this role and how it's really important that I'm not the last person in this role, right? And so we have to make sure that we are making sure it's easy to run, or easier, and encouraging other women and other Asian Americans to run for office, right? And be in government. The halls of government, they're lonely, right? There's not a lot of people who look like us. And we also have to be this beacon for residents, right? Residents call us because they see someone who looks like them, who may speak their language, who, understands their lived life experience. And they're like, government makes, is a little bit more personal now, right? And so for me, I think there's certainly been barriers, but I've been able to overcome them because, I have good relationships, and it's an ongoing process, right? So I think for me, it's this mantra of you can't be what you can't see. And so I carry that with me and know that I'm here for a reason, right? And that the imposter syndrome, it's easy to be like, oh, I don't belong here, but I do belong here, and so, and as do so many others. And so for me, it's about opening up that opportunity for more people to get involved.
So you grew up in Cambridge. When you were like a little girl, have you ever imagined yourself like one day I will be like, the president of the United States and also the mayor of Cambridge?
That's funny. People always like, oh, like, do you want to be president? And I'm like, well, I was born in Pakistan, so I can't. And they're like, oh, okay, well, sometimes I pass by City Hall and I see my name and I'm like, that's me. I'm like, that's me. So, I think I couldn't have imagined it. And also growing up here, I really benefited from so many of the resources here. We were able to live in affordable housing, right? We were able to access good programs. That my twin brother and I were able to go to summer camp, go to things. And so all those resources helped us, right? And, I got involved more locally. And I remember in high school coming to City Hall and coming and talking about, lowering the voting age. And I was looking at the city council, the mayor, and I was like, wow, they're listening to me. Seems like a cool job. I want to do it one day. And I had in the back of my head, I was like, I don't know how I'm going to get here, but maybe one day I can be in this room. And, that was in 2005, 2004, right? And, I went to law school. I graduated from college. I did a lot of different things. And ultimately in 2016, when there was a Trump election, I kind of looked inward and said, I got involved and I saw that election happening. And after that, I just saw the Islamophobia, the anti-hate, Asian hate, everything that was coming from the president. And I said, I want to run for office. And the rest is history.
Were your family like supportive of your decision to run for office?
My family was confused. They were kind of, my mom is a cashier at a grocery store. My dad has been a grocery clerk. He's a shipping clerk now. And they were kind of like, okay, well, is this going to pay you? They were very worried about money because, you understand immigrants, they don't have, my parents in particular, their professional careers from their respective home countries didn't carry here. And so for them, it was like, you make money and you don't end up like us. That's what they kept saying. So when I told them about this, they were like, okay, well, we don't know what it'll look like. But my dad, I think, was more supportive. And my mom was just like, oh my gosh, what are you doing? But then I won my first election. And my mom actually, it was the first time she voted in a municipal election.
Wow.
Yeah. So she voted for me, and so she was so happy.
Sure?
I hope so. There were 27 other candidates that year, so I think they now have seen, since I've become mayor and then became mayor again, they're like, oh, wow. Now they're like, my mom, she's as I've said, she's a cashier, and she's been a real, how do I say this? She's gotten, a lot of support from me. Her customers, they come in, she's just like, vote for my daughter, nice. Please. This is my daughter. I'm like, and then she goes door knocking. Like, wow. She's just been a huge advocate. But I still think she's kind of like, okay, what is happening long term? But they see the impact that I have and how I can help people. And I think they realize, like, to me, life is more than, it's not about the money. It's not about, these awards or accolades. It's really, for me, it's about helping people.
Yeah. That's why it's really funny, because I feel like every Asian person I know who are in like the creative space, who does like stand up or improv, they already have like a PhD or something. Then they can pursue this channel because their parents be like, okay, fine, you go ahead.
Right. We feel like, okay, we'll get this degree for you. But really, like, then you're like, oh, you want to be happy, right? And you're like, mom, dad, like, I'm going to do something else,
Yeah.
So you mentioned that you had experienced barriers, but like you overcame them. And I was just wondering, like, what does that mean for you? Like, how do you do that?
Sure. Yeah. I think I guess how used to. I mean, I think in any race, you have to raise money, right? And that's kind of like what you have to focus on. And for me, I kind of said, okay, I know I need to raise X amount of money for these elections, but I'm not gonna like get so bogged down in raising money, and keep it focused on the people and going door knocking and really spending time with community. And I think if you see how I've done in the last 3 elections, I am the person who raises the least amount of money, but gets the most votes, right? I think this strategy, if I run for higher office, won't work. You just need more money. We need campaign finance reform. Oh my gosh.
I think. Do you want to talk about that?
Well, I think it's really problematic how much we have to spend on our elections. Mm-hmm. People are raising more money in like a 5-month time period than people make in a year. And I think there's a better use for some of this money. And so I think about our federal elections, our state elections, and the money in politics. We have to fix that.
Yeah, and I think I read somewhere how once like a national election ends, it's basically just planning for the next election. And so you just have people like on circuits, just like the travel expense alone, just like holding the talks. It's like so much planning, and it's all for show. And like, because the cycle is so short, it doesn't leave much time for like actually, like making good on the promises that you promised for the previous election. I mean, this is like on the national level, but I mean, I feel like you work really hard. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about the work that you've done since coming into office, because you've done so much on like racial justice and tenants' rights, and it's very awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, I reflect back on the last few years, and especially during COVID, when I became mayor, it was kind of like, oh wow, I'm going to be dealing with COVID the entire time. And but in that, we saw a lot of opportunity too. We relaunched this and repurposed the Mayor's Disaster Relief Fund for COVID-19, which has raised $5 million, right? That went directly to residents. We were also able to launch a guaranteed income pilot, which is providing $500 a month to 130 single caretakers. We're more than halfway through this 18-month pilot, and we're seeing how it's really benefiting these residents. And now we're going to be expanding on that and using American Rescue Plan money and doing an even bigger demonstration and providing more money to families, right? I think, you think about what our role is, and it's to make people's lives better. And that can look like a lot of different things. An example I have, small example, but some families had said to me, this was a while ago, they're Muslim families, and they said, look, our kids are coming home hungry because they're not eating the food at school because it's not halal, you know. And they said, you know, I went to the principal, I went to the teacher, no one's really helping us. So they came to me and I got involved, and we got the right people together, and I got them at the table explaining what halal food means to them and why it's important. And lo and behold, we are one of the companies that we contract with. They offered meat that's halal. We could just ask for that meat, you know, and like it was that simple kind of, okay, we can do this. You know, it took a little while, and now we have some more halal options. It's not every day, but it's much more than it used to be. So thinking about, you know, something like that to these larger structural issues, you know, around tenant rights, you know, around, you know, various other topics. So I think I feel lucky that I get to be an advocate, you know?
I don't know if it's okay for me to ask this question, but I'm gonna ask it anyway. During COVID, we see a lot of like art sort of institutions, and then organization and nonprofit and the people who are in the arts space suffering a lot. And then often America has this culture, it's obviously not just Cambridge or even not just Massachusetts, don't have this like culture to support people who are in the arts. Like some country, they like give money to artists, sometimes like during COVID and stuff. Do you think like the government role on like supporting more like artists or people who are usually in this creative space that are not like making a lot of money, but they do contribute to our culture significantly?
Yeah, you know, I think we need to compensate our artists for all the work that they do, you know. And I think about even the money that we used in the Mayor's Disaster Relief Fund. We had specific money to arts organizations. You know, we said we need to support the arts. The arts is what is getting us through the pandemic, you know, the stand-up, you know, everything moved online and so forth. So I do think there's a gap in how we value, you know, artists, how we value, you know, so many different fields that do contribute a lot, but we're really slow in recognizing. So definitely, I think we need to do more. And I think as a city, Cambridge, we can do more.
Do you feel like Cambridge is kind of a bubble in terms of like the progressiveness and like willingness to change, and like because you're so successful with a lot of the changes that you've made, like do you feel like it can be you know, done in other communities in Massachusetts and beyond?
I think we're spoiled here.
Yeah.
We're very spoiled.
Yeah.
And you know, I've worked in places like Lawrence, Lowell, and Lynn, and I think here we've been able to do a lot because we have the resources, and because we have the resources, it's our responsibility to do even more. And I think where we get caught up is like we're doing this and that, you know, and people are like, you know, we're doing more than others, and it's like, yeah, and we should be doing more, you know. So I do think given where we're at, we absolutely need to be, you know, doing more to help people. And I think that's where we struggle. And I think sometimes it's kind of like, okay, we're in this competition of like, who can be more progressive, you know? And so I think about being an elected official in other parts of the country, and I think I'd have a much harder time, right? And I think here we have people who are like-minded. You know, I think the biggest arguments we have are around bike lanes and housing, you know? You know, and like, you know, there's a lot of people who are like, yes, housing, but it's like, but not right there, you know? But they're gonna have a Black Lives Matter sign. You know, that's controversial to say, but they're gonna have signs that say immigrants welcome, Black Lives Matter. But as soon as there's like a development nearby that's gonna, you know, harm them in their opinion, their attitude changes. And so there's a lot of those attitudes that I think are problematic in our city. And I think I've encountered it a lot, and I listen and I say, you know, I just disagree. Take care. You know?
What kind of response do you usually get after you say I disagree? Usually they're just shocked, and then
yeah, you know, some people are very mean, and you just get used to it. Like I have learned through this job, like I can't take things too personally. and I think people think they know me, they're like, you're this, you're that. And I'm like, I get a nasty email. I'll reply to that email, but never send it. I will have it in my notes, and then I'll take a deep breath. I'll walk away. But I just don't get to you because it's the same people who are coming after you and your biggest critics. And it's just a reality of the role that you're in. I stay out of it. I don't let some of these voices get to me. It's hard. But you have to just deal with it.
It's funny. I'm also a biracial bisexual. The sporks of people, as I like to call us. I'm bisexual, in the millennial sense of like, I'll take what I can get. I'm not exactly in a position to be bargaining here. Beggars can't exactly be choosers. But it is like frustrating to be this close to becoming a straight white man, It's like I was running and I tripped at the finish line. We're in the home stretch, you guys. You ready for your last 2 acts? Yeah! This next comic has been performing in Boston for forever. He's been on a ton of our very own affirmative reaction shows even. Give it up for the hilarious Josh Doe.
Thanks, guys. Give it up for Nate and all the comics you've seen so far. Yeah, cool show to be on. My name is Josh Doe, but Josh is my American name. It's my American name. My full name, it is Cedric the Entertainer. Doe, Cedric the Entertainer Doe. That is my name. No, my name is Josh, but my parents, they almost named me John, which would have made my name John Doe. Yeah, guys, could you imagine if my name was John Doe? For my parents, that'd make watching news be really hard. My parents, they'd be watching the news. They see a headline, John Doe found dead in the river. They'd see that and just be like, man, we should learn how to read English. What does that say? One time somebody awed at that. Like, oh, his parents don't know how to read or speak English. That made me very upset, When my parents moved here to America, of course they're going to learn the language because how else can you get a divorce? You gotta know the words. My mom, she was a smart one. She was the first one to learn how to say, I'm taking the kids. My dad's first word he learned in English, it was, waza. Yeah. I'm Korean, and sometimes people ask me if I'm from North or South Korea, which is whatever. But one time, some guy tried to put a twist on it, and he asked me if I'm a good or a bad Korean. Which is something I ask myself every day, you guys. Am I good? Am I bad? I'm a bad Korean, you guys. I'm a bad Korean. And I know I'm a bad Korean because my first job I ever had, I worked at a McDonald's. And at that McDonald's, they had a nickname for me. Their nickname for me was Queso Blanco. Yeah, for those who don't know Spanish, Queso Blanco means white cheese. But I figured it was slang for something, so I looked up on Google, Queso Blanco, Spanish slang. And what I actually found out is that it only means white cheese. I later found out that it means that you're white, but in a bad way. Yeah, it turns out there's no term for being white in a good way. Yeah, for some reason the Spanish don't have that term. But I'm a bad Korean, you guys. I'm a bad Korean. I I mentioned working at McDonald's, best job I ever had. When I had my interview there, the manager interviewing me said that she wanted to see my smile. Which I was like, all right, it's a little weird, but I show her my smile, and then she goes, well, Josh, your smile is pretty average, but average is more than what we're looking for right now, so I got the job. Queso Blanco. It was a good time. Worked there for 2 years. And then my very last day there, I was kind of just like standing there, not really doing anything. And then my coworker, she sneaks up to me and then just touches my face like that. And I react. I was like, whoa, hey, what are you doing? And she goes, yeah, Josh, based on your reaction just now, I can tell you've never been touched. And I was just like, that doesn't make sense. But in my head, I was just like, is it that obvious? Is it? Is it that obvious? Thought I was hiding it pretty well. But I guess it was pretty obvious, you guys. You know, dating in my early 20s, it was not a good time. You know, I'm an Asian man. There's a stereotype with Asian men. The stereotype that Asian men don't smell. Yeah, it seems like it'd be a nice thing, you know, Asian men not smelling. But when you think about it, Asian men not smelling just makes us even more invisible to women. Oh. No, but the real reason why dating for me was so hard in my early 20s was just because I would just say the worst things at the worst time. You know, the first girl I had ever kissed, I told her I had a sex dream about her. And the thing is that I didn't actually. I just thought it'd be a good thing to say. Yeah, that mistake, luckily, though, you know, that mistake, luckily, I only got to live it almost every day because we worked together, so. Queso Blanco, you guys. Yeah, dating was tough. You know, dating got to a point, though, where... You know, I was kind of at this place of, like, loneliness and desperation that I had almost paid for an escort. And for anyone thinking about doing that, here's a little tip. They will hang up on you if you're giggling the entire time. Is this airing on cable? That's my PSA for cable television. Stay professional, you guys. Yeah, no, but I almost went through with it. But then she said something to me that made me change my mind at the last second. I'm on the phone with her, and then she goes, okay, Josh, come meet me at the hotel room, and I'll turn you into the bad boy you were born to be. And then that's when I realized that I didn't really want to do this because, you know, I didn't want to be a bad boy. I kind of liked the way I am. But then I thought about it. Instead of a bad boy, could you turn me to a better man? She goes, oh, honey? No, not with the price that we agreed upon. Luckily, though, I was able to find a healthy relationship with dating, you know? I was allowing myself to be more picky and choosy of people who I want to give HPV to. That's found myself there at that point. But no, it all worked out because now I'm married. And so, you know, sometimes based on some audience reactions, I feel like sometimes they feel bad for her. But it's a good marriage. It's a good marriage, you guys. It's very good. It's very new, though. It's very new, and so... I still, like, I'm not really used to calling her my wife, you know? Before that, you know, we were only engaged for 2 months. And so I never really got to call her my fiance either. You know, then we dated for 2 years. Calling her girlfriend was no problem. And then before that, it was cousin. And so I've just had to call her a lot of things, you guys. Yeah, she's very great. She's very lovely. I took the train to get here, and I'm sure we all have, like, horror stories from taking, you know, the train or the bus. This happened to me one time where I'm on the train, and I'm sitting down by myself. pretty empty car, not a lot of people there. When we get to the next stop, though, this guy comes in and he sits next to me. But when he sits next to me, he sits on 2 seats. So right away, I'm like, this isn't going to go well. And then what happens next, this guy just lifts up his shirt all the way up over his face and then just starts patting his stomach. And then he starts fingering his belly button right next to me. And I just kind of freak out, I'm like, that's not cool, man. Okay, that's not cool. I was here first. We don't need 2 people doing this. Yeah, dude. All right, you guys have been great. Thanks, I'm Josh.
You guys ready for our final act? Our final act is a really talented musician. He's performed all over. You can find all his music on Bandcamp. Give it up for the Michael character.
Hello, hello. Okay. Hey, I'm James, plays the Michael character. Yeah, I'm not a comedian, so I can't do that. But I'm gonna do a couple of tunes for you, and if you hate it, it's over lightning fast. So just don't worry about it. It's pollen season again. The landscaping people are chopping off the heads of the dandelions and the lesser weeds, and into my open windows a spring breeze, the season of sneezes again. I've got an allergy headache and I forgot my Claritin. The view from this classroom is great in all seasons. There's something to love even when it is freezing. But as the new condos rise off in the distance, as development money is borrowed ham-fistedly by this growing city, the kids all say goodbye. They go out and start their lives, and I'll still be here sneezing when they cut the weeds on the first day of spring. Yeah, I will be looking at the new Y building till it becomes the old Y building. Me chilling out in my rented apartment. 4,000 roommates to keep down the costs. I'll make jokes about how I could have been something, then sit at my desk staring straight at the wall ahead until retirement, and then until death. Thanks. So, I've been doing this for a really long time. I have like 100 billion albums on the internet, and I'm on tour this summer, going to the United States of America, all over the place. So if you have any friends there, I'm gonna be hanging out in that location. So I do every year. I do a birthday song. Right before my birthday, I wrote a song about the year, and I went back recently and did a retroactive writing of all the birthday songs, all the way down to 0. So I put out a record last year. It's a bunch of songs. You can listen to it on Bandcamp, and this is the most recent one, although I have a birthday coming up in 2 weeks, no song yet. Very scary. But this is last year's. So, yeah. Books stacked up on the desk like sandbags for protection, but the water's gonna find a way in. So long staring at this window, the news is far away. I turn the radio off early lately. Power fears turntables above everything else. So they pulverize the vulnerable to, comfort themselves. The state, the cops, the occupiers, armed to the teeth. And ubiquitous. Oh, I messed that up. Because it's the 2 verses, and it does the revert, and it's, you know what I'm saying? When you structure the song, and it, anyway. Power fears turntable. See if I get it right. Everything else. So they pulverize the vulnerable to comfort themselves. The state, the cops, the occupiers, armed to the teeth. with a mandate for repression we support implicitly. But nobody needs a perfunctory mea culpa. Apologies come as soon as conditions necessitate the illusion of doing something. I got change for you and it's a one-liner. Stop the hate on a little painted sign of me quiet down at the back of a big room while the planet dies. The politics of recognition are a dead end, pointing at a body like, I think this guy needed medicine. Or tell your very observant friend to think they're onto something like, where's all the land back when you need it? The political means for Palestinian freedom, the right to live as a whole human being, to go where you want and to eat when you need it. Power fears turntables above everything else, so it lashes out in violence to comfort itself. Scary boyfriends, jailers, judges, pipeline police, and ubiquitous surveillance fills the spaces in between. So we reify data, we reify law, efficiency, measurement, reason, and all epistemological means of control, teaching kids at a vulnerable age that their emotions burden their brains. Yeah, the self and undisciplined worker who needs the firm hand of management to be made useful man. It's hard to believe that a whole bunch of people who stay the same say everything is changing. They welcome a new day like anything is happening weird. I don't mean to be mean or disempower. This is just me spiraling. I'll be fine in about an hour. For now, I'm just incredulous, raging that there's gotta be a better way to get folks the things that they need. Healthcare, housing, food, and dignity. But what I don't know at 31 years old, I'm probably not gonna know without making the time, prioritizing, I'm thinking, deciding, I'm building a life, and I'm trying to be alright. I'm bringing the fight when conditions call for a struggle. That's when you'll know if the strategy's right. If you brought enough muscle, fail, rinse, repeat, do a better job tomorrow. Power fears turntables above everything else, so our highest aspirations atrophy under our doubts. So let's incubate the futures that we all know we need, and in the meantime struggle firmly against our class enemies. Cause then law and order translates to control of subject populations of whom they're afraid, with the fear and the hate enacted by the state, all the while making bank selling weapons. Hip hooray! Then they render the systems of social provision so indescribably impotent that it feels unrealistic to make any demands of it. Who does that serve? The same bastards. So hell yeah, I voted for Bernie Sanders. Medicare for all my friends, fully fund that nation. If you love your employer provided sky-high deductibilized private insurance so much, why don't you marry it? Thanks. Internet, playing a bunch of things, come, whatever. Email me. It's on the internet. That's it.
That's been our special, you guys. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming out. This has really been a labor of love for everyone involved. Thanks so much to our amazing performers, our incredible audience, our absolutely amazing crew, everyone who's taken the time to respond to an email from mine or set up an interview. Every little bit in going to this show has just made it the best show it can possibly be. Thanks so much for helping support AAPI talent here in Boston. And I hope you watch more API arts content in the future.
love TV. So I will watch a lot of TV just by myself and just watch my shows. You know, I'm still watching Grey's Anatomy 19, 20 years later. I think I'm the only one.